A TPLF leader has given a piece of advice to the Ethiopian Prime Minister. Secondly, Demeke Zewdu talked about Takeze guards, the militia being established in Welkait. Lastly, Egypt has leveled new allegations against Ethiopia. Welcome to my views and news. Thanks for watching. Firstly, Egypt is accusing Ethiopia of unleashing unprecedented amount of water into River Nile. Egyptian authorities last night issued a statement. They say that Egypt is monitoring the dam, GERD, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, through satellite, through remote sensors. And in recent weeks, Ethiopia released unprecedented amount of water in River Nile. At the start of September, in the second week of September, 485 million cubic meter was the volume of the water in River Nile, but it increased to 780 million cubic meters at the end of September. This level of water rose because of the water released from GERD. Egypt was not informed. Ethiopia took this step unilaterally. So Egypt claims that unilaterally and hydrologically inconsistent amount of water is being released into River Nile, into the countries which are downstream River Nile countries. Ethiopia has not responded, but I think in coming hours, Ethiopia will respond to these accusations by Egypt. Egypt pressurizing Ethiopia to sign legally binding agreement about dam operations. Dam operation means how much water will be stored, how much will be released, how will it be released, when will it be released. Egypt wants an agreement about it. Ethiopia says it is ready to share data with Egypt, with Sudan, but it won't sign a legally binding agreement. US mediating, you know that Donald Trump, the American president, visited Egypt a few weeks ago, and their CC took up the issue of GERD, and Trump promised to mediate between Ethiopia and Egypt, and he said that at White House, the two will sign an agreement. Your State Department has been tasked with starting preliminary dialogue between Egypt and Ethiopia. So both sides, Egypt, Ethiopia, issuing statements to force their narratives that they are the ones who are aggrieved parties. Let's see what Ethiopia says in coming hours. There was Demeke Zewdu spoke about Takeze guards a few hours ago. By the way, now we are getting pictures from Welkait. They almost on daily basis showing Takeze guard, militia members being trained. Graduation ceremonies being organized. Military officers overseeing the training, the deployment of Takeze guards. The militia established, Amhara militia established in Western Tigray to defend from attacks by Tigray fighters. A few days ago, Demeke Zewdu claimed that Takeze guards was fully capable of defending the area and capable of attacking the enemy forces. Then yesterday, he again spoke about Takeze guards. Demeke Zewdu said yesterday that Takeze guards militia is being established to defend. So the objective of the establishment of Takeze guards is that residents of Welkait, they want to defend. Establishment of Takeze guards is being done to avert a war. It isn't being done to start a war. But this is what Tigray generals say to General Dinkel, General Migbe, Vedi Zol, and others. These commanders, in their speeches recently, they said, we are conducting military recruitment to avert a war. If we are not strong militarily, we will be attacked. Tigray will once again be under siege. Tigray will again be a battlefield. So we need to have minimum deterrence level. That will keep Ethiopian government away from Tigray, Ethiopian military away from Tigray. This is justification given by Tigray commanders about military recruitment and activities in Tigray. Demeke Zewdu is giving the same justification. The Tigray guards are being established to avert a war, not to ignite a war. But all these parties are preparing for war, basically. They want to be ready for the worst, but they are, I think, accelerating the happening of the worst. Because when you weaponize, you militarize your regions so much, it means that the will to solve issues through dialogue vanishes. It means that you want to solve issues militarily by force. That is why there are fears that a conflict could erupt. Last was TPLF leaders are giving an advice to the Ethiopian Prime Minister. The two are not speaking. The two are not on speaking terms, not on good terms. Prosperity Party and TPLF. No engagement between them. No talk so far. No talks confirmed so far. A TPLF leader in an interview gave a piece of advice to the Ethiopian Prime Minister. Name of the leader is Fetlewerk Gebregziaber Monjorino, Iron Lady of TPLF. One of the most senior TPLF leaders who fought during a war against Dergs too. What did Monjorino say? Well, Monjorino firstly accused the Ethiopian government of being hypocrite. This government is hypocrite. It says one thing to the mediators and the other thing to the authorities which are taking action, unfair action against TPLF. She said that when federal government leaders talk to African Union, IGAD, Western diplomats, they say one thing, but then they tell Nebe to remove TPLF status as a political party. Basically, the government, the leaders in Addis are hypocrites. Firstly. Secondly, she gave an advice to the Ethiopian PM about Eritrea. She said, PM Abiy's rhetoric against Eritrea is hostile. So she blamed the Ethiopian side for the tensions between Ethiopia and Eritrea. That Abiy is responsible because his rhetoric is hostile. She said that legal and diplomatic options should be tried by the Ethiopian government. Use of force will not work. It is not a solution. It means that basically TPLF is distancing itself from the war between Eritrea and Ethiopia, saying it does not support Ethiopian government's case for access to the sea. And Ethiopia should file a case, legal case for Assad, or it can involve diplomatic community to solve the issue with Eritrea. Question is, if Ethiopian government files a case, a legal case at some international court for Assad, will TPLF support the case? I don't think so. Why? Because TPLF has committed, it has promised in its engagement with Eritrea that it won't support Ethiopian government's case for access to sea. The case could be military plan, it could be a legal case, it could be diplomatic maneuvering. No matter what the method is, TPLF will never support Ethiopian Prime Minister, Ethiopian ruling party about access to sea issue. Why? Because it is in alliance with Eritrea. So this advice from Monjorino is very strange. I mean, she should have said, we don't support case for access to see by Ethiopia. Whether it's a legal case or diplomatic case, we don't support it. Yes, the two can talk and they can agree on something. But she took a position which might not be welcomed by Eritrea. Eritrea does not want its allies in Ethiopia to back Ethiopian case for access to Assam, especially military plan to take over Assam by Ethiopian side. Uh, it's unacceptable to Eritrea, and if anyone in Ethiopia, which is in a contact with Eritrea, supports Abiy's military plan or Abiy's legal plan, perhaps that won't be welcomed by Eritrea. Eritrea will perhaps uh, maybe it will be offended by the words of Monjorino. And it won't be happy with the way Monjorino suggested that Ethiopia can file a legal case, obviously, for Assam. Even filing of that case is unacceptable to Eritrea. Thanks for watching.